Who actually needs an automatic leveling system these days, and who's just burning money on tech they'll never use? If you tow a travel trailer more than a few times a year, the Lippert Ground Control TT 5-point automatic leveling system might look like the perfect setup and forget solution. But before you click buy, let's talk about the real setup time, the hidden quirks, and whether the price actually makes sense for weekend warriors versus full-timers. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I spent a whole weekend testing this on a 30-foot travel trailer, and the first surprise was how much the setup routine changes once you're not standing in the rain with a bubble level. The system uses Hall effect sensors, basically magnetic sensors that detect tiny movements in the frame so the legs don't just drop until they hit the ground, they stop the instant the trailer is level. That sounds slick, and it is, but the catch is the initial calibration. You have to drive the trailer onto a surface that's already close to level, then run the touchpad through a 2-minute self-calibration routine. If your site is a gentle slope, the system will still get you within a quarter inch, but if you're parked on a driveway that slopes toward the street, you'll still feel the fridge door swing open on its own. In other words, it's not magic, just really fast, really precise leveling once you're close. The touchpad controller is the part that feels like it was designed by someone who actually tows. It's a single handheld unit with 5 buttons, one for each leg, plus a master level button and a small LCD that shows which legs are moving and when they're done. I set it down on the picnic table while I was inside making coffee, and the beeps were loud enough to hear over the Keurig but not loud enough to wake the neighbors. The buttons are big and recessed, so they don't get accidentally pressed in your pocket, which is more useful than it sounds after a long drive when you're just trying to get the awning out before the wind picks up. The legs themselves are beefy heavy-gauge steel with a powder coat finish that looks like it can survive a gravel road without chipping. I ran the system on a mix of concrete pads, gravel, and uneven grass, and the legs never bottomed out or got stuck. The only time I had to give it a nudge was when I parked on soft ground and the legs sank a couple of inches. The system still leveled, but the stabilizer pads weren't quite long enough to keep the feet from disappearing into the mud. If you camp on anything softer than packed dirt, budget for longer stabilizer pads or plan to carry plywood. Now, the part that trips people up is the installation. The kit comes with all the brackets, wiring harness, and a 12-volt controller, but you still need basic tools, a multimeter, and about 2 hours of patience. If you've never run a 12-volt wire through a trailer wall, the first 10 minutes will feel like a wiring class you didn't sign up for. The instructions are clear enough, but they assume you already know which side of the fuse panel is positive. If you're not comfortable splicing wires or routing cables through the frame, factor in the cost of a mobile tech visit. It'll save you the headache of a half-finished install. So who should actually buy this? If you tow a travel trailer more than 6 times a year and you hate crawling under the rig with a bubble level, this system pays for itself in saved time and frustration. Full-timers will appreciate the repeatability. Once it's calibrated, you can pull into a new site, hit the button, and walk inside while the trailer levels itself. Weekend warriors who mostly stay in KOAs with paved pads will still love the convenience, but they might not need the extra precision. On the flip side, if you rarely tow or you're still using a manual system because that's how we've always done it, the Ground Control TT is overkill. It's also a poor fit for pop-up campers or small teardrops that don't have the frame strength to support 5 powered legs. The biggest reason to skip this is the price tag. At around $1,200, it's not a casual upgrade, it's a serious investment. If you're still shopping for your first travel trailer or you're on a tight budget, stick with the manual scissor jacks and save the cash for campground fees. Another hidden trade-off is weight. The kit adds roughly 40 pounds to your trailer, which matters if you're towing a small SUV or a crossover. Lippert says the weight is negligible for most setups, but every pound counts when you're climbing a mountain pass. After 2 weeks of real-world use, the Ground Control TT delivered on its promise, under 3 minutes from park brake to level trailer, and 0 second guessing the